Come on, I want to hear a little MC scat.
MC Cat on the rap, so Mike.
Oh my god, I used to know that whole thing.
Swift and Sly and a planet.
That is too bad.
Paul Abdul. My favorite Paul Abdul memory is Keanu Reeves in that one video of hers. The Rush video. Or
Rush.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have a favorite Paul Abdul video memory.
I have one. Holy crap.
You just took me back to 8th grade.
This is the best podcast ever.
Well, folks, we just lost Andy Cooper, but that's okay.
Wow.
What I'm saying is I'm into you.
Hey, I've got 4 hours of Queen. I never realized that.
I'm just impressed that Frost has Paul Abdul on his hard drive ready to go.
You just put Abdul into the search window and bump, there it comes.
Do you have any ABBA?
Got it all, actually.
Play Waterloo.
I think I have
Waterloo,
the
damn it.
whole catalog, sadly. Waterloo?
Yeah. Yes.
You scared Jay.
I've got that.
Don't make me go get the bass guitar. I love that tune.
There's bass guitar in that song?
Wow, how sad is that?
Yes, sir, there is.
Wow.
When people don't bring their music to their private lessons and they play bass, I punish them and make them do ABBA.
Ooh,
Teach them to forget their folders.
There.
Patrick says, ABBA, what drives me nuts.
Nice.
That's the name of the music show. Our only goal is to annoy people.
Yes.
Mission accomplished.
Everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 57, recorded March 22nd, 2011, and being streamed live right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Tuesday night. We usually do it on Wednesdays. This week we're doing it on a Tuesday. I'm Danny Cooper from PriusChat.com, and I am but one of your hosts this week.
And I am the other butt of your hosts this week.
Yeah.
That didn't come out so well. I'm Russell Frost from PriusOwnersGroup.com, your other co-host for tonight's advanced technology fun. And dude, have we really done 56 of these already?
Apparently so.
Wow. I thought for sure somebody'd shut us down by now.
Well, I don't think the FCC. I think we're under their radar still.
Thank God for that.
Thankfully, we don't need a big budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'd be bad.
We don't really have any budget.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Yeah. But, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just going to keep us going here.
Let's just move on.
As I mentioned before, we do stream the show live every Wednesday night, starting at around 9 o'clock. We usually get going about 9:30. You can jump in around 9 o'clock for some pre-show activities. Tonight, if you didn't get on early enough, you missed some wonderful Paul Abdul music, which I really enjoyed. Thank you, Russell.
My pleasure.
This week we did it on Tuesday just to confuse everyone, but normally we are on Wednesday nights. If you want to hear us live and chat with us in our chat room while we do the show, go ahead and visit whatdrives.us/live.
Oh, or you can just go to whatdrives.us and click the live button at the top. And we've already talked about when we're here, so we're not going to mention that again.
Yep. So now, let me introduce our esteemed and fairly literate panel that we have with us this week.
Fairly.
The first fairly literate person we have with us tonight is a founding member of the Chicago Prius Group, one of my favorite Prius chat moderators, and a noted work explosion expert. It's
Where the hell is this
Mr.
going?
Tony Schaefer.
God. Hey everyone! First, I want to give a shout out to Patrick in Oregon, who's on the chat, and apparently just took credit for doing the vocals on Michael Manring's intro. So well done, Patrick.
Really, some great vocals there.
Yeah.
Tonight, Linda is not with us. We hope she'll be back with us next week as a part of the regular group. But this week, to take her place as the second person introduced, because he's the final person introduced. It's
He's like wearing a dress in her honor or something.
What, can you see me or something? What the hell?
He might be recording from a closet. We don't know. He's the obsessive, compulsive hypermiler of the group. He is the resident Honda expert. He is Jason Holder.
The Paula Abdul was good, but I preferred the ABBA.
And who doesn't?
And yeah, I mean, well, except for Danny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paula Abdul is really only one woman, but ABBA had two.
Yep.
That's
And they were blondes from Sweden. I mean, really?
My
Winning.
song that I talked about earlier that I asked Russell to play, Waterloo. This has nothing to do with cars, but I happen to have seen that video on YouTube, and the funny thing is the comments, because they were dressed ridiculously, and one of the first comments was like, "Who dresses these people? Stevie Wonder?" Music videos certainly weren't what they are today, back in the 70s.
Right.
yeah, that's an understatement. Yeah.
Yes.
Indeed.
So this week's topics, we've got a smattering of different topics we're going to touch on. We're going to talk about Russell and I's favorite topics, such as concept cars. Yay.
Are we?
Yeah.
Can we talk about concept cars? I'm so excited.
Renault's effort to try to alleviate any sort of range anxiety you might have when buying an electric car. We're going to talk about gas prices, changing the market and the way that you're buying a car right now. Tesla is wavering back and forth on their swappable batteries. Someone actually agrees with us about Fisker padding their sales forecasts. And the different delays with production and shipments that the tsunami and the earthquake over in Japan are causing for the U.S. market. So first, we will start off with one of Russell and I's just favorite topics. I ask you, Russell, what's better than a concept car?
Video of a concept car.
Exactly. Video of a concept car, like doing donuts in snow.
On a frozen lake in Sweden.
Where ABBA is from, thank you. We have 6 degrees of ABBA.
The show is over. Thank you. Good night.
I'm so happy.
I gotta tell you, if you're gonna take a concept car out and do something with it, at least make it do something cool. Like for instance, in that Karma video that's over on YouTube that we've talked about before, that was just the way to
naked woman to fondle it. Is that
exactly? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So all this needed was a naked woman in sub-zero temperatures to fondle this car. A Swedish woman, yes.
With ABBA playing in the background.
Well, now you're just asking too much, Russell. I mean, Tony.
Like,
All right.
so I'm torn, like, because it's cool, because the car actually exists, and don't you just love the vinyl wrap on these things?
Yeah, it looked like camo, like they're trying to hide it. Which I realize that's what they do with, with concepts. But it's like, they're polar bear hunting in Sweden? Is that what they're doing?
Probably trying to run down seals or something. It's something. But
trying to find Nissan Leaf polar bears.
yeah, I mean, We don't really learn anything much about the car except that it can spin its wheels. It doesn't have traction control, at least.
Well, this is the first of this is the i3 of the i series of BMW. I guess electric cars. Is that all the i's are going to be? I think.
I believe it is. Yeah.
I believe. So this is the first one. I guess first video of it that we've seen in action. This thing is going to go on sale in 2013 supposedly and cost about $40,000.
Well, no, it says that it's it says it's all electric, not hybrid.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think all the eyes are all electric.
All electric. Okay.
I think. Or wait, maybe I'm wrong. Let me look at. No, I lied. The i8 is a hybrid.
Oh, so
Okay.
they might be more car than electric. You might say.
That's clever. Did you just come up with that all by yourself, Dan?
I did. I think I'm gonna try
I
like
like
that
that.
before someone else
Yeah.
uses it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Now the i8 is a sexy looking car too. This thing has like a 0.22 coefficient drag, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just like a spot on the road with wheels. It's a gorgeous car with scary vinyl wrap. But, of course, it's a concept, so it won't look nearly that cool once it actually comes out because it'll have to be crash tested. And we didn't get video of this one, unfortunately.
But it looks like it was in the same area. Doing
no.
some snowy wheelies.
Do you think they were listening to ABBA on the stereo in this picture as well? Or
In
guaranteed.
native Swedish.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I was thinking since it was BMW, it had to be Kraftwerk, but
Ooh, could be.
Patrick tells us that BMW has not said the I-Line would only be electric. And yes, I think so.
I just can't imagine BMW making only electric cars. I mean, it just seems a stretch for me,
Well, the i8 is definitely a hybrid. From at least as I read this article, yeah, it can go 31 miles in pure EV mode, and it has a twin turbo 4-cylinder.
It's weird. The back of the i8 reminds me of the aliens from District 9.
I see the eyes and the mouth.
Yeah.
You see it?
It's good.
Yeah. Who came up with that?
Yeah. Jay says, yeah, those wheels are going to make it into production. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and that's part of Russell and I's thing is we just hate concept cars because no part of a concept car ever actually makes it into production that's, cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. Go ahead, Tony.
Oh, it was me actually.
Sorry.
There's no point in if you see a concept car that you like. There's no point in torturing yourself thinking that some of these cool styling features that you're gonna, that you look at and you drool over today. There's no point in holding your breath that it's going to make it into the production because it never does.
And it's almost like you take all the really ultra cool. The thing that gets to me is it's not just that they change. Of course, it's going to change. It's a concept car, but take all the really cool stuff that totally grabbed you and said, "Oh God, I want this car." Take all of that off. That's what's going to make it into production.
I like the note that Russell included with the show notes this week to everybody on the show. It's kind of like stepping in unicorn droppings. It's video of a concept car.
I'm witty. Okay, maybe I'm not that witty. But yeah, so I mean, BMW's testing on some frozen lake in Sweden some of their new iCars, and it will be interesting to see more of these cars as they do some road testing and as they get closer to actual production cars, what they look like. I mean, I'm going to guess the i3 probably isn't going to get any uglier.
Well, it looks like a box on sub-sized wheels.
Kind of looks like a Mini Cooper with some out-of-control swelling.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like they definitely borrowed some engineers from the Mini side of the business to help them design that.
Yeah.
And
that one shot from the side, that hood, how it looks like it some bulbous nose coming out of the hood.
that actually is a nose coming out of it. It's
Cool.
I don't think I've.
Is it so that it can smell blind people?
Does that mean it doesn't need noise? If it can smell it?
Yeah.
No, I know you're not saying that blind people smell.
No, they stink.
'Cause that'd be offensive. Oh, bad.
Oh.
Well, let's just move on now that Tony's really put us in the gutter.
Oh yeah, I'm the one that ruined the podcast.
You did that. This kind of goes hand in hand with a question that came up when I was going to the Nissan Leaf electric drive event tour, or whatever they're calling it. Renault.
Still jealous about that, though, I gotta say.
I'd like to keep saying it so that everyone will
Yep.
continue to be jealous. It's like
Yep.
whenever I drop the Panamera talk.
Yep.
What?
Like
Have
I
you
just
driven
did.
a Panamera? I haven't heard that story.
Would you like me to give you my review of the Panamera real quick, Tony?
Maybe
yeah,
we could
go
just
ahead.
post,
I gotta.
maybe
I
we
gotta
could
run
just
this
post a
along.
link to the audio where Danny discusses that in depth.
The previous half hour that I spent talking about it.
Mhm.
Anyway, back to the actual story. Renault is providing a get you home guarantee for electric vehicles. So basically, you can buy an EV from them, which Renault is producing a EV that is going to be like the European version of the Leaf. That's correct, right, guys?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, dubbed the Get You Home Guarantee, the company will provide you with a loaner while they recharge your dead car's battery. Of course, the offer only stands if it's due to uncontrollable circumstances like inclement weather or unwieldy traffic. Unwieldy traffic known as driving 80 in between vehicles.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the phone negotiations to take place. You know, like, hey, I'm here and my battery's dead. Can you guys come and pick it up? And they're like, so what was the condition that you were driving in? And
We just checked the traffic on the Autobahn, and it does not appear that you had any circumstances. We are leaving your ass sitting out there. Yeah.
with people 150 miles an hour.
Well, and this is kind of interesting follow-up to, there's a couple articles that came out this past week with the Leaf, and people driving within the range that the car's navigation system has told them they can go, and then not making it. And so a question actually came up during the Nissan Drive Electric Tour, whatever it's called, Electric Drive Tour, I don't know, that, you know, what kind of services Nissan offers. And basically, Nissan says that they offer a roadside service that has a quick charge. So it's like a, what is it, 480? The level 3 charging?
Level 3, yeah.
Yeah, so level 3 charging, which will get you 80%, I think, in half hour or something like that.
You may have me on that one. I'm not sure the exact time, but it's I think it is 80% in 30 minutes. That sounds familiar. So.
Yeah, I have to wonder well, okay, there's a few things. I mean, there's a lot of logistics on here. Danny, like you said, they're going to have to prove, the driver is going to have to prove that they weren't simply stretching the distance, for one. And for two, they're going to give you a loaner while they recharge your car. You still have to go back and pick up your car, right? So, I mean, let's say you were on your way home and you die 3 miles short. Do they give you a lift home, or do they give you a loaner for the last 3 miles and then tell you to go drive to the Renault dealership to pick up your car?
Yeah, they tell you that tomorrow morning you can come and get your loaner.
I got to tell you, none of these schemes so far sound like I get why they're doing it, but they don't really sound very practical.
Who does Renault have dealerships on their own, or is it usually part of a dealership with some other manufacturer?
I have no idea.
Because I got to tell you, I don't know where I would go for a Renault dealership in the Chicagoland area? I simply don't know.
Well, no, I don't even know that they offer any in the U.S. anymore.
I don't think they do offer anything in the U.S.
No, you'd have to go to, what, France?
France.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a long
So-
tow if
Yeah.
you were driving
Yeah.
in Chicago and had to be towed home to France.
Along
Right. And I want it back tomorrow morning.
Well, this is let's move to one of the other stories that kind of ties in with this. Tesla has designed the Model S battery to be swappable. Now, we've been hearing about that since the day that the Model S was introduced, and I actually tweeted with Chelsea Sexton last week or a week and a half ago, whenever they first announced the official pricing and ranges and whatnot, that there would be the 300 mile, the what was it, 240 and 180, I think are the three different levels,
something like that. Yeah.
and so I asked Chelsea, I said, what happened to that idea where the person with the 180 pack could go up to the 300 for like a weekend trip? There was the whole selling point that someone who bought the lower end pack would be able to swap it out for like a weekend trip. And according to Chelsea, that idea has been shelved or put to the side. She says that she never saw it as being a attainable goal. But lo and behold, the Model S is still going to have a swappable battery.
So they say.
So they say, which would, I think, go a much longer way than saying, we're going to tow you to your house, or we're going to give you a loan, or we're going to come and charge you for a half hour. I think the whole swappable battery thing is a much better option.
I was wondering where you were going with that. Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
That's how I combine the two, Russell. You see that?
Oh, you're way ahead of me, man. I just, and you're right. That makes sense. If a car comes out or a truck comes out with a swappable battery pack and they slap a new battery in and they go, "Thank you very much," and you go, and that makes sense. But yeah, the other scenarios just don't seem to work for me. But here's the thing: like, I'm remembering. Do you remember those videos that we did? I mean, it was a few weeks ago that Tesla engineer was walking us around the frame and showing where everything was and how it was designed, and that battery pack didn't look very swappable to me.
Well, it's like the
Roadster or the Model S?
The Model S.
Okay.
The Roadster, it's definitely not, because it's spread all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's not swappable like... recently I saw a little how-to guide on how to swap out the Gen 1 battery pack on a Prius. And, I mean, that was like, you line up half a dozen tools, and then you get started for a half hour.
Oh, no.
To swap it out. I hope it's nothing like that. It would hopefully be more like a pop two things and pull out a tray of batteries.
You're looking for TV remote swappable.
Similar, yes.
Well,
more like cell phone battery, I guess.
Which brings up the conversation that we're going to have in an upcoming show about Better Place and how that whole program works and some of the details there. But, yeah, I mean, that's obviously the ideal scenario. You drive into like a car wash thing and, and a robot changes the battery out, and 2 minutes later you drive out and, hey, we're all good. But, yeah, if you got to get down on the ground and, start messing with impact wrenches and high voltage cables, that doesn't sound so appealing.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it should be the same as changing your tire.
Theoretically.
Yeah, sure. I mean, moving forward, that's probably how it's going to be. But in the past, these earlier hybrid cars, they were anticipating the batteries lasting, mostly for the life of the car. So there's no need to have the thing, swappable in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. Yeah, moving forward, it's going to be a big concern. So I think we're going to see that change, over time.
Yeah, I've always thought that dare I say, my ideal world, but I think not just ideal world, but to alleviate a lot of people who are accustomed to the 5-minute gas station refill. I always pictured electric vehicles having swappable batteries that you pull in with a depleted or near depleted battery, and you have it replaced with a fully charged battery. You pay for the capacity of the new battery and get out. I always thought that would be pretty cool.
Well, unless we see some sort of a huge growth in battery technology, I think that's going to be the model that's going to be the best for car companies that manufacture electric cars in the future. If we can't make a battery that's going to go 300, 400 miles and also recharge in a pretty quick time, people are used to spending maybe 7 minutes at a gas station. If we can't recharge the batteries in that time, and we can't get the mileage packs that we're used to, or that we like to have, to come up with a solution, I think a swap would be the best.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead, Danny.
I was just going to say, I think swappable batteries have got to be on the forefront of all the manufacturers' minds on how to get EVs in the hands of a normal mainstream consumer.
Yeah. I mean, without a doubt, that's the easiest to imagine scenario that sort of addresses...
Frost, hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
I've got audio issues. I'm going to pause and restart. Hold on.
Okay. Audio issues. Really?
Yeah. I'll be right back.
Okay. Talk.
Hello?
It's a little bit better.
Hello? Do you want to just start it over?
Yeah, maybe just call everybody back.
Bye now.
Well, sorry about the technical issue here, folks. Hope everybody's enjoying the chat room. That's much better.
Yeah, I think Jason, Tony... Okay, everybody's there.
Exactly. We can edit that out, Barry.
And we will. Wait, there's no we. I will.
Yeah, when we say we mean Russell.
Yeah. You're a little poppy on your mic, too. Pop, 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 pop.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I think I need to invest in one of those filters.
We all do.
Or maybe I'll just put a piece of paper in front of it. Does that help?
No.
Pantyhose. I hear pantyhose is the way to go.
Hi there.
How about panties?
No.
Whatever.
Yeah. Go for nothing. I'm not even going to even enter this conversation.
I'm at home tonight, and I got the nice pop filter, so I should sound pretty good.
Yeah, you got the deluxe one, dude.
Yep.
You're filtering your pot?
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Is that what I heard?
Well, who doesn't, right?
Yeah. Have to these days.
That's when they started to ruin cigarettes, when they added the filters. I don't know anything about cigarettes. I'm just talking.
Okay. So,
all right, what were you saying, Frost?
what was I saying? Okay. So, I mean, here's the thing about, the swappable battery pack. To me, it seems, at least, for instance, I mean, the Better Place thing is really cool. I like the idea. It's very consumer friendly. You drive in, a little robot changes your battery. You drive out a few minutes later. Yay. But that does seem kind of expensive and perhaps fraught with mechanical issues. And I wonder how practical it is, and just going down the line, if there's a lot of EVs on the road, how really practical that is. I mean, moving these batteries around and recharging them. What if you have a station that one day that needs 100 batteries, and there's another station nearby that has none, and everybody's, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like there's a lot of logistical issues that this Better Place plan could bring up. I don't know. I think as gas gets more expensive and harder to find, and as EVs get more popular, we may see also some changes in behavior patterns. It's easy to say you have to make things for the lowest common denominator for the mainstream consumer, but there also comes a time when the consumer has to adapt because things change.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
And I wonder what consumer adaptations we're going to see in the next decade. Is it going to be that people are just going to have to be more responsible about maintaining these things, or there may not be other options that are financially sensible. So that's it. I'm sorry. I just wanted to throw a little sand into that, beautiful theoretical machine of swappable batteries, because it's cool. It's a great idea. I just don't. It seems like It just seems like there could be problems.
Well, don't you think that at that point, don't you think they'd have to be like separated cells that you need to swap instead of like a full 300-pound battery?
I think you'd actually have to have a standardized pack.
Oh yeah, you would.
You wouldn't be able to like the robot wouldn't go, oh, you have a Tesla and I'm going to grab this pack. I mean, we would have to see some kind of standardization, at the very least in connectivity between the vehicle and the battery pack. And probably in shape and form factor too, because this robot's got to physically manipulate the vehicle, open it up, take the old pack out, and put the new pack in.
I don't know that it would be robotic or animated. I think, like changing oil, you're going to need somebody there making sure you have the right filter and adapting to every car.
Well, it's never going to be as efficient in terms of refueling as gasoline is, because it's a liquid. You just open the fuel door on the car and you put the pump in and you fill it. Batteries are more complicated. It would certainly be nice if we got some sort of a standardized system. The fact that cars don't all look alike seems to require that the batteries are not going to look alike as well. I mean, yeah, Tesla might be able to engineer a system that we could swap the batteries out, but I don't know if the same battery is going to go in multiple cars over different manufacturers and stuff. So I mean,
why?
Nothing's
standardized alkaline cells.
No,
well,
but
I mean,
I think Jason's point is that design and engineering of where to put the battery, right?
But that's going to flow from the battery packs. If we go to this kind of swappable system, they're going to have to be. I don't. Okay. Here's
what comes first, I think, is what's really going to happen. Someone's going to have to mandate an accepted protocol kind of thing.
Maybe the car that's going to be really popular and hit the mainstream first is going to be the one with the swappable battery pack. Maybe.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that everyone's going to follow. I mean, one thing I'm thinking is Japan has one cell phone protocol, or whatever you call it. We have two, right?
What are you talking?
CDMA and GSM.
Right.
Yeah, because the Japanese government said this is the standard. Everyone will use this, or you don't sell phones, and everyone did it. But here, we have phones dedicated to carriers because hardware-wise they only receive this kind of signal and blah blah blah. Because they're allowed to do it. So I think someone higher the government is going to have to say, this is going to be the standard. Design around it.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know which way it's going to break, but it does seem like this is a very complicated issue. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see a clear path. Like, this is the only way it's going to go.
Right. Yeah.
So there. That's me. Like I said, just throw a little sand in the finely oiled machine.
Fantastic.
And I still don't think, I think Tesla might be blowing some hot air on this issue. Because that walkthrough of that Tesla frame, I don't know how easy that battery pack would be to get to. Or to add a mechanism underneath to be able to, open it up and get it. I mean, this thing was like a welded pan underneath the car, which frankly is kind of what you'd want, Yeah,
I mean, you want it totally separated from the rest of the vehicle.
Right. And
we've already seen the Prius plug-in, explode several times.
Oh, why does that make me laugh? I don't know. It's not funny.
It makes me laugh because for some reason they always seem to happen in like South and North Carolina.
Well,
Like, what are these idiots doing in South and North Carolina that they keep exploding their Prius batteries?
Danny, if this was court, that one of the judge would say, asked and answered.
Touche, mi amigo.
Oh.
Well, next up, we have an article about the... Well, it's kind of a two-parter. It's kind of have a quick discussion on, gas prices in general and what the tipping point is for, I guess, when our buying habits change. Because it seemed like when $4 gas hit, well, I should say, when it started to get like $3.50 back in 2008, a lot of people's habits really changed. There were stories like every night on the news about what you can do, and all of a sudden gas cap locks or lockable gas caps became really popular. And then when $4 gas came, all of a sudden used car lots were filled with SUVs, and you couldn't get a compact car anywhere. And it seems like now, gas, at least in Charlotte, North Carolina, is at right about $3.56. I don't know what the national average is at this point, but I got to think that Charlotte's somewhere around the national average. It just seems like we're not seeing any of that yet.
And part of the discussion is, obviously a consumer pays more. That's the new norm, So, at the time, sub $3 gas was the norm back in 2008, and then it zoomed up to, $3 and change, maybe $3.50, and all of a sudden everybody started to lose their minds. Now it's at $3.50, and people are, it's been more or less $3.50 in a lot of places for a month or two. And we're just beginning to see the beginning of the anxiety. I mean, we're hearing about dealers, selling more and more hybrids and more compact cars. We haven't seen the SUV resale price plummet yet. That's coming, I'm sure. Yeah, it's an interesting, as it goes up, like what's going to be the next inflection point? What's the, is it going to be $4? When it gets to $4, will people just suddenly notice that they're putting $60, $70 worth of gas into their vehicle?
I think it's going to take 5.
Yeah,
5 is when everybody's going to panic.
Too.
Yeah.
450 is going to be the new 350, and 5 is going to be the new 4. And it's kind of like I remember when milk was $1.99, and now it's $3.50, and no one blinks about it.
Oh man, food prices are out of control.
Well, food prices go hand in hand with gasoline prices, or at least fuel prices.
Sure.
Yep.
So yeah, and that's we're talking about putting fuel in our cars, but yeah, we certainly have to address the transportation costs, trucking costs.
Sure. Well, Dave in the chat said that his rideshare board at work has gone crazy. Patrick thinks it's a $4. $4 is the pain point. I got to agree. I think by $5 we're going to have people just losing their minds. I think it's going to be at $4.25, $4.50. People are going to start just really. By the time it gets to $5, you're going to be able to buy an Escalade for like $2.50.
Well, and I'll say the thing that advanced tech car owners probably will agree with, but pretty much anyone not listening to this podcast will disagree with, and that's that when gas started to go down, state governments and federal government should have stepped in to try to regulate that price a little bit better, whether it be with adding some sort of tax that could be dropped off as oil prices start to increase, something that would give them some leeway to help control these prices, because like Tony said, the price of oil changes everything. It changes the price of plastics. It changes the price of transporting goods. Changes the price of food, of everything.
Well, and Brad Berman at, what is it, Green Hybrid? Hybrid cars.
Hybrid cars.
Made a point. A couple of points about when are we going to actually have the real adult discussion about what gas prices really are. I mean, I think most adults have heard at some point in their life that gas prices in the United States are artificially lowered, but they don't really understand it. They don't really think about it. And I mean, and we think about the billions of dollars that we pour into subsidies and military actions and all of this other stuff to keep oil flowing at a rate that keeps the gas price down. Because again, that gas price is everyone, on the shows mentioned, affects food and everything. If we really built in that cost, our gas would be much, much more expensive. I mean, we don't really pay for gas what it costs to get it to our cars. How much should we pay in blood? No doubt, dude.
Explain that again. I'm sorry.
Well, let's put it this. Let me try to make an analogy, for instance. And this isn't going to be a good one because it's a product that's subsidized heavily anyway. But if you grow corn and you buy fertilizers and whatnot, and you harvest the corn and you truck it to the market and they pay you X for it, right? It's pretty much a straightforward kind of transaction. Again, minus all the subsidies and ethanol and all that other stuff. Oil isn't quite that way. I mean, we have oil here in this country, but we also import a lot of oil. And that imported oil arguably costs us extra money. Because, for instance, we're fighting in Libya right now to stabilize, quote unquote, the country. Well, what that means is we want to keep it stable so that we can continue to get oil there and bring it over to the U.S. Arguably, we wouldn't be there otherwise because there's lots of other countries on that very same continent undergoing the exact same thing, and that didn't motivate us to do very much at all. I'm getting a little political.
Well, we do have there. I think there's more stuff going on in like Bahrain than is reported on the news. Like sure. I've got a buddy in the Navy who's based out of I don't know, BFE Middle East, and he's been doing a lot of trips to Bahrain lately. And nobody's talking about that, but the government in Bahrain was in Yemen, where the military was putting snipers out to shoot protesters and then blocking the exits from the protest areas. So anyway, I don't know what my point was with all that, but obviously with and I will change from the Palin picture.
That's awesome.
Here,
Patrick, you rock.
I'll make you guys sit through this instead. Picture of Russell.
That's small comfort, if any.
This is obvious. There's obviously a lot of worldwide interest in Libya because it wasn't just us. It's the entire UN that has come together to change this or to bring about this action in Libya. So anyway, it shows that oil is a worldwide commodity and a worldwide price issue.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I let me try and simplify it. I guess my point is that I think we pay a cost that you could break down to support the easy flow of oil into this country that we don't pay with other commodities. But our government pays for that. And we don't count it into the actual consumer cost. The consumer pays $3.50 a gallon, complains that it used to be $3 a gallon, and goes their merry way. When in fact, most of the other countries on this earth are paying twice that for gasoline and aren't spending the billions of dollars that we do to keep that easy flow of oil going.
Doesn't it make too much sense for us to put a baseline price on oil or on gas and have a panel kind of like we had the
no, it does totally, but no, it'll never happen.
I just think when it finally hits $5 a gallon, people are going to stop pointing and laughing at me when I'm driving my Insight.
Yes, they'll throw rocks at you,
Exactly.
They'll try to steal it. That'll be what.
or they'll throw the second row of seats from their SUV at you.
They'll key you while they're walking past you while you're driving.
Danny, I totally agree with you, and I think it's a great idea. Look at it this way: look at the fiscal crisis that all of the states and the country, quote unquote, is supposedly in. The states much more so than the federal government. If we had been taxing gasoline at the $3.50 level since 2008. Imagine the money that would have gone into those coffers. Imagine the money we could be investing in electric infrastructure or in development of renewable energy or dozens of other things that would benefit this country. But yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
well, I've been digging through my computer looking for reference here, and unfortunately the most recent I could find is 2006. I must have created this a long time ago, but what I did was, here I have a list of the oil import per country from energy.gov, and broke out the OPEC countries, and of which the OPEC countries account for 13% of our total import, or is it 42%? And Libya accounts for 0.63% of all oil imported into this country. That was in 2006. So that's really not much. You know, I'm just putting things in perspective. You know, if we're going to spend money in Libya, you know, we'd be better off invading Canada and Mexico if we want oil reserves.
But again, this isn't a logical... I agree with you, Tony, but I don't think this is something that's driven by logic. It's driven by emotion, and it's driven by entrenched interests that we have to protect, that we feel we need to protect.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
No,
well,
I know.
Well, and it affects all different aspects of the economy. 80% of car buyers are now saying that gas prices have influenced their vehicle purchases. And that, I think that what that does is, you know, the auto manufacturers always throw out the stat that, like, you know, 50% or probably higher than that of auto buyers, you know, say that they're interested in a hybrid for the next car, but they never buy it. And so this type of situation usually pushes people in that, you know, edging them more towards buying a more fuel efficient / green car than, you know, if the economic and the fuel situation were different. Just talking with a dealer that I know, they're seeing SUV. Well, right now the market is saturated with trade-ins, used cars, and people can't. SUVs are not getting anything anymore for trade-in. Compact cars are still getting a lot of money for trade-in. SUVs are getting nothing, and people are still trading them in, even though they're getting nothing for them, and then they're sitting on dealers' lots because they can't get rid of them, and the wholesalers won't buy them anymore.
Makes sense.
Don't blame them. Yeah, bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that you know, the phrase that I despise, that whole personal responsibility thing, does come into it. And when you go out and buy a big vehicle, I don't have a lot of sympathy for you unless your work demands, you know, you do something where you carry big stuff around, that you really have to have one. And I don't think, well, again, anybody on the show, listening to the show in the chat room, is going to argue with me that a significant percentage of the really big gas hogs in this country aren't driven by people that have got to have them. They're driven by people that can afford them or want them.
Yeah, I have that conversation all the time with people at work.
And
you know,
I get that, like, it's really cool to burn $100 bills in front of other people, you know, because that that like makes you look cool, but I don't have any sympathy for you when, it costs you $100 to fill up your gas tank. Bummer.
Well,
I tell. Go ahead,
Tony.
Dan.
No, you go ahead. I was going to move us along.
Yeah, I was going to say I tell people flat out, I don't mind if you drive these big gas hog vehicle things, but when gas hits $4 a gallon, I don't want to hear you bitching about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, not only does increased fuel prices cause people to abandon their SUVs, but it causes them to obviously look at more fuel efficient vehicles. And like I was saying before, this is what leads to the very high sales months for cars like the Prius and cars like the Fit, and that leads to dealers gouging prices on fuel efficient vehicles. So all those cars that we've seen 40 mpg for recently, they're probably going to end up costing you a lot more than even what the MSRP says.
It's going to be a good year for Hyundai, right?
Oh, yeah.
If they cars, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. This is it's going to be interesting to see how the summer goes and where the gas price ends up. Does anybody want to make predictions on where the gas price is going to be in August? Anyone feeling
$4.15?
Danny says $4.15. Tony Schaefer.
Are we talking U.S. national average?
Yeah.
Yeah.
U.S. national average right now is at $3.51. Over the winter, it was right around $3, a dime higher low. And last winter, it was right around
this is especially off the
$2.70.
cuff. You're like analyzing data and...
I think in August we'll be looking at $4.50.
Yeah, what are you cheating? You're using science or something, Tony?
You're using your brain.
Science. Yeah.
Don't fail me, science. Yep, sorry.
Jason?
I'm going to have to say for the record, I don't really care where it gets to. I don't. I mean, and part of that is just the fact that I'm driving fuel-efficient cars. That's what I'm interested in. That's, I try to drive my cars in a fuel-efficient manner, but I'm actually going to have to go a little higher. I'm terrified, sort of, but I think it may approach $5. I think that we're just a few certain events in the market away from gas really coming close to $5 a gallon for national average, and if it does, so be it. I think that it needs to stay high because we're not going to see a lot of. We need that scary high number, to reach the average consumer before they start to see that some of these habits and these things that we've done in the last 10, 20 years, with our choices. This is not a sustainable way that we can go about things. I mean, you have to start thinking a little smarter. My prediction is getting close to $5 a gallon. I'm going to say $4.75.
I'm going to hedge my bet in one way. I'm going to say because this isn't an election year, that I think there's a very good possibility that gas prices could spike up to where Jason is. But I don't think, if I had to bet, I'd say $4.35. I'm going to split the difference between Danny and Tony. I just don't. We'll see. It will be very interesting because, again, this isn't the market's invisible hand working. There are a lot of factors involved, and the price can be artificially depressed or can be allowed to soar. But as that price goes up, obviously the pain is distributed through lots of other things, and we'll hear a popular outcry. I think $4.35 probably in August. It wouldn't surprise me if by 2013 though we're well over $5 a gallon. I think after the election year, I think it'll be low during the election year because the people who control those things like to keep that gas price low.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to play. I'm going to play political pundit here for a little bit, and I'm going to say that the high gas prices that we have in Chicago, I blame squarely on Rahm Emanuel. I mean, he's going to be sworn into mayor in the upcoming months, and he hasn't yet done a single thing to alleviate the price of gas. It's his fault.
Drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
You know, you
Right,
should have put
right.
those
Offshore drilling in Lake Michigan. That's what I want.
You should have put those Wisconsin lawmakers to work while they were in town.
I know. They got like a free ride.
Yeah. Well, it's like a perfect storm for fuel-efficient vehicle shortages, because not only do we have the increasing price of gas, but we also have the obvious, tsunami and earthquake that hit Japan, and that's already. I don't think the Prius factory has opened back up, even though the day after they announced, we're opening back up. But from what I understand, they're closing now until the 26th. I think I heard.
It was the last press release.
Yeah, so this is like dealers are seeing dollar signs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, better take advantage of it because you can only sell that car once.
That picture that you
people
see
that-
that picture that you see in the podcast right now is of a bunch of Nissans that got wiped out by the tsunami. So watch for a lot of flood title Nissans hitting the market.
Yeah. Flood damage. It's the thing about this. Do we want to go into the specific Honda thing?
Yeah, we can go to that.
Which?
I don't want.
Oh,
I don't want to derail it, but I mean, Danny, it is totally the perfect storm. I mean, with a lot of compact cars coming out of Asia, suddenly not coming to the U.S. and gas prices going up. It's going to be interesting to see, people reselling Honda Fits on eBay for some stupid amount of money.
Well, I think I'm going to not make the mistake that I made last time with my car, and I think I'm going to go ahead and sell it early. When I feel like gas prices are starting to peak, I might go ahead and sell my car to get the most resale value out of it, since I'm basically pending my first drive of the Prius V. I'm planning on moving to that.
Are you really?
really?
Yeah.
Oh, no. So the Hyundai, it disappeared.
Yeah, it did. The trunk space killed it.
Yeah, I can't blame you there. Interesting of V.
Yeah, I mean that's what we need right now is the cargo room. So the V kind of fits that perfectly.
Wow. I'm somewhat surprised.
Like I said, pending the first drive of it,
Yeah.
which might be doing sometime in the future.
If only, huh?
Well, you certainly do get to drive all the cool cars, Mr. Cooper.
Well, I mean, I would take the Panamera, but I don't think Nicole would like me driving a 0 to 60 in like half a second car.
Well, I thought that the storage room was the factor. Does the Panamera meet your needs for that?
I could make it work, definitely.
Uh-huh.
Egg in the
I
chat.
would pull a damn trailer if I had to with the Panamera.
Prius D-Bag in the chat says the Prius V will be the new F-350.
Yes, I'm already preparing my new smug custom bumper sticker when the gas prices get really high. You've been laughing at me for years. Or who's laughing now?
Well, I mean, as harsh as I feel about it, I don't necessarily want to there are people that are gonna feel misery from this that really don't deserve it. But yeah, there's also a lot of people that really deserve a little misery that they're going to get some, and it's hard not to kind of wallow in that. The thing that caught my eye this week when I was putting together the news was two stories. One story about Honda delaying orders to U.S. dealers. Danny, am I stealing your thunder here?
No, good dude.
Okay. Honda delaying orders because of very understandable circumstances going on in Japan. The other thing was that a story. Am I keeping you up? I mean, I don't want to.
No, I'm sorry. I had myself muted on the one thing, but not on the other.
But from last August, that Honda was very proud of the fact that they're building 89% of their vehicles here in the U.S. And one would think that if you're building roughly 90% of your car in the U.S., you'd be kind of insulated from catastrophes in Japan.
Doesn't that depend on how many of your parts and your components come from Japan, though? I will admit I haven't researched this as much as I would like to, but seems to me that many of the Hondas that are built here, aren't some of the powertrains still coming from Japan?
Well, that's an excellent point. And there's another point that I want to bring up that shoots a hole in sort of my whole interesting thing here. And why I wanted to bring it up is just to get what you guys thought. There's 4 vehicles that Honda still builds in Japan. Anybody want to guess which 4 they are?
I think I know them.
The link?
Are you talking exclusively or?
Yeah.
I know they still make the Honda or the Civic Hybrid there, right?
Civic Hybrid?
Every single hybrid, and then also the Fit, right?
The Fit, the CRZ, the Civic Hybrid, and the Insight. So I guess if you were shipping if all of your other cars were in the U.S., but the Fit, the CRZ, the Civic Hybrid, and the Insight were the ones that came from Japan, I can understand why that might delay orders in a time when in your target country, gas prices are soaring and people want really fuel-efficient vehicles. That's pretty much Honda's fuel-efficient vehicle lineup right there.
All right.
Well, I was going to say, I bet they have a lot of stock here in the U.S. of most of those vehicles.
Oh!
But
Yep.
well, actually, I read an article about GM isn't even insulated from this because they apparently get a lot of their parts from Japan also, and so
Sure.
they might run into production issues. And like we said last week, Toyota's already stopped overtime in the U.S. Because of supply constriction.
Interesting. I just thought that was sort of an interesting little set of facts. I mean, I guess that they're delaying orders because the 4 cars that are selling, maybe, I guess we'll have to see what the sales figures are next month for March. It will be interesting to see if the CRZ and the Insight do any better than they have in the past.
I'm just going to have to say, being a person who owns 2 Honda cars that were built in Japan, every time I go to buy either a part, some sort of a maintenance part, whatever, if something breaks on my cars, many of the parts that come in, they carry the Made in Japan, label on them. So I wonder how many of these Honda cars that are built, for instance, in the United States. I understand in the Midwest we have a lot of Honda plants. I think, for instance, the Civic, everything except the hybrid, I think these days is being built in either Ohio and or Indiana. I wonder how many of the parts from these cars are actually manufactured in the United States. I was sort of under the impression that Honda still had a lot of manufacturing going on in Japan, even if it's being assembled and built here in the United States. That even if Honda's factories and their assembly plants in Japan aren't directly affected by some of the situations going on right now, I mean, this could really screw things up. I mean, can you imagine trying to get a package or a parcel shipped from Japan to the United States right now? It must be a disaster.
Yes, absolutely. Come on, Danny, you must have a Honda rant saved up in there somewhere, don't you?
No, actually, I don't. Except I did want to say that again, speaking with a Honda dealer this past weekend, the car that they are seeing selling the most since all this started, both gas prices and the tragedy in Japan, is the Pilot.
Amazing. Now
that's going to change as gas prices continue to rise.
Well, that it kind of makes me wonder. Are people going from like Suburbans to a Highlander or a Pilot? Because instead of getting 12 miles a gallon, you're going to get 24.
That's still a pretty big vehicle. I mean,
yeah, can you really get 24 in a Pilot?
I mean, my brothers actually just got a Highlander recently, and he's averaging 28 in it.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Give him a high five from me.
I will. Maybe I
Yep.
need to get you guys together, and you can help him get like 40 in it.
I do what I can.
Yeah. I don't. It doesn't surprise me, dude, that one of their bigger cars is their hot sellers. I mean, people will like laugh right up to the edge of the cliff, and then it's like it's all good going down. Ah.
Well, I guess my point is that people see $4 gas and going from you can even use the example of like the '05 Pilot to the 2011 Pilot. They're going to see a substantial MPG upgrade, and so for a lot of people, maybe that's enough of a buffer from the gas price increase to keep them sane.
But that's such a. I mean, that is exactly the kind of short-sightedness that I'm talking about. Like when you buy a car, I think we talked about this last year on a show. I mean, you people right now that are being motivated by gas prices going up to buy a more fuel-efficient vehicle, you'd want to. It would seem to be the natural thing to say, "Oh, they're being sensible." Well, actually, they're kind of not, because gas prices aren't like the week you buy the car. What affects you is that 5 years or however long you keep the car, where gas prices are and where gas prices go. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you can buy well now, and then again, people aren't really they don't think about this thing logically at all. Gas is $3.50 a national average right now. Where is it going to go from here? What am I going to do in 2 years when gas is $4.50 a gallon? Because that's not even an outrageous prediction. And do I really want that Pilot?
We all make our decisions. I mentioned last week or the week before about the guy I had the conversation with who was totally sweating it because he likes to go camping, and he has the 1-ton Dodge diesel dually, and he's complaining that they flashed his computer in his truck, and now he's only getting 12. He was getting 14 before. I think short-sighted is the exact word, Russell. I mean, that's what I think about most consumers. I mean, as a general rule, we kind of choose on what we want, not necessarily what we need. People buy these vehicles that I mean, they don't know what they're getting into in terms of cost. It's difficult to determine what the gas prices are going to be in in a year and 2 years and stuff like that. Myself personally, I just pick the smallest, most efficient vehicle that meets my needs, and we all make our choices, and sometimes we're going to have to live with them eventually.
Well, another side of this, I think that'll be interesting as far as the whole Japanese situation is to see what the trickle-down effect is on pricing. Because with the Prius, at least, I don't pay attention to many other cars' pricing, but the Prius seems to have a $250, $500 price increase every 6 or 12 months. At least. Sometimes it's even more frequent than that. And so it seems to me that this has got to be costing manufacturers a fortune. And they're going to make that up somewhere.
Yeah, that 0% financing deal is going to melt away. Because they've been pushing that since the 2010. Since about 6 months after the 2010 came out, they've been pushing 0% on it. And those are costs all borne by the manufacturers, indirectly. Or not, he says, as a tumbleweed rolls by.
Sorry, I had to let the dog out.
Tony, Jason, anyone?
Tony
well,
checked out 5 episodes ago.
Sorry, I don't listen to the podcast. No, actually, I was doing a 30-second diatribe on how it's important to make sure your microphone isn't muted. But sorry, I mean, I just simply don't know how the incentives work, to be perfectly honest. So I and Nina doesn't either, but she's come in to try and tell me. But yeah, I would guess that all of those incentives are going to go away because they know they can pick it up, pick up the extra costs, and I'm sure the dealers might be throwing in some what do they call them? What do you call them? The dealer add-on things?
Floor mats?
Yeah, like the floor mats and the other crap that they really push.
Well, I mean, Tony, basically the financing, Toyota will offer certain financing deals, and Toyota will pay for those. The dealer won't have to. And then the dealer obviously has financing options that they can offer the customer. And generally speaking, the lower interest rate financing deals make the dealer less money than the higher interest rates deals. So that's why they love it when Toyota is offering 0%, because then they get to, make a really good offer to the customer, and it doesn't come out of their money.
Yeah.
I wonder.
They make it up in the extended warranties that they try to sell you, though, right?
In the format.
Yeah. Yeah, the extended warranties and
they make it up on
everything
the.
else.
They make it up on the, 15% of people who don't make the minimum payment 1 month and get charged an arm and a leg in interest. But I was going to say that I don't know that changing a marketing ploy like 0% would be as smart of a move for them as just pricing up the increasing the price of the car.
Oh, I think we'll see both. I think you'll see the price go up a little bit, and you'll see those deals. The rebate will disappear, and the financing deals will melt away. And if you want the car, you'll buy it on their terms.
Yeah. They'll tell you how much money you'll save in gasoline, so pay the extra $500 for floor mats.
I don't even want to know what you're talking about in the chat, Danny.
we're talking about payday loan people.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Or parasites. Oh, hey, Jason's back. Hey, Jason. Yeah, I haven't seen anything in the chat about this subject. I think everybody's.
I think they're kind of bored with us at this point.
Whatever.
They're talking to each other.
Yeah.
We got our own thing. Okay. Hey, well, good for them, man.
I'm going to put up a picture of Sarah Palin again to see if I can get their attention.
Exactly. Put that.
So can we go to Delaware Online now?
Yes.
It's almost as good as the Korean Herald.
A fine bastion of news, the DelawareOnline.com. For some reason, they've decided that they have skin in the Fisker game, which basically means that 90% of corporations in America, they're incorporated in Delaware.
And their production facility.
Oh, are they? Okay.
The U.S. production facilities in Delaware, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't realize that Delaware was large enough to actually have a production facility to go from end to end.
Just barely.
Well, apparently the Delaware Online, which I'm not even sure if this actually is is there a name of a newspaper this is attached to, or is this just the Delaware Online?
I'm going to guess it's the News Journal, the Delaware News Journal.
Okay. They have decided to call BS on Fisker's sales expectations, just like we did last week. And I would like to think that Jonathan Starkey over at Delaware Online listens to this podcast and got the idea from us.
If he had, it sure would have been nice if he'd mentioned us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been sweet.
But yeah, I mean, come on. It just seems like on its face to be a pretty ridiculous sort of thing. I think he says in the article somewhere that J.D. Power had forecast that Fisker could sell 54,000 cars globally in 2016. That's a long way from 115,000 cars next year. Excuse me. Next year.
Well, now there is something in the way that things are phrased.
Yeah.
Because in the first paragraph it says Fisker hopes to produce 100,000 plug-in electric cars per year as early as 2013. J.D. Power says they forecast Fisker will sell 54,000 cars globally in 2016. So they're not saying that Fisker will not have a total of 246,000 cars sitting on dealers' lots.
That would be so funny.
That's a hell of a surplus.
You know, Fisker's talking about production. J.D. Power's talking about sales.
Right. I mean, they're sort of talking about different things, but I mean, in the end, Fisker's obviously long before there's 250,000 vehicles on dealer lots, Fisker's gone.
Yeah.
So I just...
Okay, so we did the gas thing. What's the over-under on Fisker actually making it to 2015?
Not just being in business.
Yeah, just existing.
I'm taking the under on that one.
That's the weirdest thing because, the
Hot Wheels count.
for some silly reason, companies like this have a tendency to just linger and not really go away. They just linger.
Is that because they have some rich man with a big ego at the helm who keeps pumping money into the company?
Well, he either keeps pumping money into it or he keeps successfully going to venture capitalists and or governments and getting butt tons of money.
I would love to know the total dollar figure that the U.S. has in Fisker right now.
Yeah.
I bet it's a lot. It's in the article right there. They've lent them $550 million.
Yeah, it's I don't, no, I say they're gone by 2015. I just don't think.
Well, I want my $550 million back.
But what's his name? Henrik? Henrik's hanging out with John DeLorean in 2015. Is DeLorean still alive? Ooh, maybe that wasn't so good.
No, I think he died.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, well.
And he was oh shoot, what's the word? No, acquitted on all charges?
Yeah, he was. Nice.
Yeah.
Dave points out that in the history of the world, when did 100,000 vehicles or $100,000 vehicles sell 100,000 per year?
When have they sold more than like 5,000 a year?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's the other thing. I just don't think. I get Tesla because Tesla's already way below them, and Tesla's next plan is to make something even less expensive than the S. And I can see that making sense at some levels. A $95,000 car, no. So Project Nina is going to come in at what, 65,000? Their car, quote unquote. Just my take.
I guess they're going to sell them all locally to the folks in the Northeast.
Yeah. All those corporation owners out of Delaware.
You get a Fisker. You get a Fisker. You get a Fisker.
Oh, he handed them out for free.
Everybody gets a Fisker. Check under your chairs. Okay.
And people are like, God damn it.
These things are worthless.
Can I just have one of those handbags?
I got to pay the sales tax on a $100,000 car. Thanks.
That would suck.
GoPro.
I don't even know. I mean, Dave says he could see the Model S selling 100,000. I don't even think the Model S is going to get that high. It's an expensive car. Maybe. There's a better chance of it than a $95,000 car, definitely. But I think when you start talking...
Yeah, finish what you're going to say.
Well, I think when you start getting down around in the 30s, that's when you start talking about these big six-digit numbers.
No, not even then. I mean,
really?
if you have a wildly awesome car for that price, yes. But all right, look at the numbers that Honda's putting up on the CR-V or the CRZ and the Insight. I mean, I don't know what the total sales numbers were for the Insight last year, but that was a $20,000 car that didn't sell very well.
Yeah, come on. You know more about car numbers than I do because it seems like you keep that, but some $30,000 cars that sell 100,000 units at better. You know, I hear everyone's keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and
I'll make the case this way, just blindly. How much is the Prius, the package 5? 30 grand?
Yep.
Now, all the Priuses being sold aren't package 5s, but there's certainly some of them are.
No, but it's a very, very small amount, though.
Is it really?
I think 3%. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
It was, yeah.
I didn't think it was that small. Annual car and truck sales.
I need to pause the thing again. It's going out on me.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, talk.
1, 2, 3. Hello, welcome to the show.
Tony, Jason?
Yeah, I'm here.
That's a little bit better. We can finish the show.
Hooray.
Yay. Yeah, no, that's just an annual total sales. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'll certainly be educated there by anybody with some more knowledge of the figures, but
I don't have.
Yeah, I just did the math real quick, and we're looking at 8,500 cars a year. If you're looking to get to 100,000, or I'm sorry, 8,500 cars a month. If you're looking to get to 100,000 cars a year, which means, of course, that they're manufacturing more than 8,500 cars a month.
Right. I mean, here's their side, and I'm going to wading into the pool cesspool for the second time tonight. But I mean, we're in a pretty crappy economy right now, and I think you've got to be an exceptional optimist with not a lot of judgment to think that it's going to get better in 12 months. I personally don't see it in the next 24 months. And who's going to be buying all those cars?
Well, and that's the other thing I would say. It's not like if the Nissan Leaf was available on every lot in America, sure, it'd be selling more than 86 units a month, but it wouldn't be selling 8,500 units a month. And that's a $30,000 car.
What does it say about the Volt?
What do you mean?
That's more expensive. Well, I mean, the Volt's even more expensive than the Leaf. So much for a people's car.
Yeah.
That nets down to what, like 32 maybe in some states? That's, I guess, look at perspective, just from a pure statistical perspective, that it kind of puts things in a more logical, relative order. It's easy to look at a cool car and go, oh, wow, yeah, they're going to sell a bunch of those. But, how many $32,000, $33,000 vehicles are sold in the U.S. every year? And out of those sales, how many of those people are concerned about gas economy and are willing to buy a car that's maybe not the nicest $32,000 car, but it's the most fuel-efficient $32,000 car? So,
yeah, good point.
Yeah.
All
I've done a lot of rambling. Who else would talk?
Jason and Tony, you guys have anything else to add?
No, but I'm still looking for my Fisker Karma Hot Wheel.
Fisker Karma Hot Wheel.
Well,
yeah.
I apologize for the way the audio has kind of turned out for the last part of the show, but it'll be better next week, I promise. At least it sounds bad on my end. As long as it sounds good on your end, Russell, that's all that matters.
It's okay. There's been some momentary blips, but yeah, we'll get there.
Skype is just acting like Skype tonight.
Yeah.
So those are our topics for this week. we've got a couple topics that some people have posted over on our Facebook page, which we would love for you, if you have any other topics we'd like to cover, we'd love for you to go over there and post those as well. It's facebook.com/whatdrivesus. This week, I would love to plug... I got nothing. I'm gonna plug our Twitter feed. You can go to twitter.com/whatdrivesus and check out the What Drives Us Twitter feed. You'll always know when the show's going to be. Is it going to be on Tuesday? Is it going to be on Wednesday? Is it going to be on Saturday? The only way you'll know is to listen to our Twitter feed, or to listen to our Twitter feed. Read our Twitter feed.
Yeah. That is an excellent idea, and and maybe if you're on Twitter, suggest us on Follow Friday, and suggest us to your friends. Give us a couple of retweets, even if it's something dumb like, Danny complaining about his dog, or me complaining about being alive, which I forget.
Everything,
yes, yeah.
Frost,
Sorry.
what other plugs do you have?
Well, I'm glad you asked. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our theme music. Please visit him at manthing.com. You can read my rantings, published irregularly, at PriusOwnersGroup.com. My weekly shout-out to Justin. Hey, Justin. We missed you in the chat room tonight, but then again, we did change the day on you last minute. Maybe we should show up tomorrow in the chat at 9, just to see who's there.
Hey, yeah.
Just to chat and go, oh, yeah, no, the show was last night. Sorry.
And then we'll talk as though we're like really recording a show.
We'll set up a little audio stream. Be like, oh, this isn't a very organized show. You guys are talking about comic books and ABBA and,
So it's like tonight's show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so just put tonight's show and just, and then watch TV for a couple hours.
I also want to thank our panelists, Jason and Tony, for showing up. Thanks, guys, for showing up. And
Always a pleasure.
That's and thanks everybody in the chat room. Chat room rocks.
Well,
on chat room.
I would like to throw out my normal shout out for the Prius Chat Shop this week. We're getting a lot of new Prius owners over on PriusChat.com, and if you are a new Prius owner or an old-time Prius owner and you just want to spice up your car a little bit, we have all kinds of accessories for you to do that over at PriusChat.com/shop. Tony, take us to Facebook, my friend.
We're here at the we're here at Facebook.com/whatdrivesus, and we've got to figure out why David can't hear the live version. Is David on this? David, you're on the chat, right?
Yeah.
Is that David? David, can you hear the chat this week?
Intermittently.
I gotta wait for him to post now. So hopefully we'll get that fixed, so that he doesn't have to sit in the chat room without hearing anything, and then actually listen to the post later on. Saying hey to Justin, and we're at 293 people liking the Facebook page. So that's 7 more people. So I want everybody to go out and hack into 7 people's accounts.
Yes.
And like the page.
Yeah.
Trust me, they'll thank you for it.
All you have to do is set up a page that is titled with something like, check out what this sexy co-ed did next.
Oh no! Ah!
Mm-hmm. And Russell will click it every time.
Drop as a friend quicker than you could believe.
Yeah. So well, that's really it for the Facebook stuff. And again, if anyone, like Danny said, if anyone has any content or any thoughts or anything you want to share, post it on Facebook. We get a lot of good ideas there, and we read them back on the show. We like to drive the interactivity.
Absolutely, and Patrick will look at that story suggestion for next week. Sorry we didn't get to it this week.
And David can hear it today, so hooray! But only on Tuesdays.
Yay!
Somebody met me at the Chicago Auto Show.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know you'd been to the Chicago Auto Show.
What? I hadn't been to that show. Is my doppelganger been going to auto shows?
Maybe it was
Jedi Joe.
Maybe he's thinking of Linda.
Are you kidding? No, that was actually Russell. That was me, and I was drinking heavily and hitting on all the women and some of the men, and telling everyone my name is Russell Frost.
And wearing a wig.
And wearing a wig.
Mm.
A lipstick, and you were smoking a cigar and swearing a lot.
So you saw the pictures.
Let's just say you're not the first one to come up with that idea.
Jason, tell us about your ungodly springtime MPGs.
Three things. One, I miss Linda tonight. Number two, I'm glad we talked about ABBA. And then number three, yes, the weather is getting better, and I'm glad my mileage is going up. So, as always, you guys can follow me on Twitter. I'm at HypermilerJason, and you can see my mostly daily fuel economy tweets. I guess basically just bragging about how hyped I am about my cars, and when the weather gets nicer, the mileage gets nicer, and that makes me a camper. So
there you go.
Yep, that's it.
All right. Don't forget that you can call us and leave us a voicemail with your question, comment, or suggestion for stories for the following week. It's 575-51-DRIVE. That's 575-51-DRIVE. You can also text that number if you want and tell us stuff. So whatever you want to do. You can visit us online at whatdrives.us to listen to, stream, or download any of our podcasts, all 57 of them. Can't believe that.
That's insane. What are we thinking?
Oh, no. You can also click on the subscribe button there on whatdrives.us. That'll take you to either the iTunes feed or our feed burner page with the MP3 and M4A versions. Don't forget that if you want to be really cool and hang out with us, you can listen to the show live. You can get a little behind-the-scene access before and after the show. All you have to do is go check out whatdrives.us/live. We usually record on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. And if there are any changes, we usually will post those up on our Facebook page or in our Twitter feed. So that's a good reason to become a fan over on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. That's 9 o'clock Eastern at whatdrives.us/live. Finally, just want to say thanks again to everybody in the chat room tonight. You guys were fun as always and good contributors. Sorry about any audio issues that came up for some people, but hopefully it'll be better next week. And I know it will be because we'll have Linda back.
Yep.
Because we're all chopped liver.
Yeah. But thanks to everyone in the chat room for being part of the show. So for this week, thank you for listening. Download us next week and find out what drives us.
I was really hoping you'd put us out with a little ABBA.
You asked for it, you got it, baby.
Read
Yes.
my mind.
Hallelujah.